We have, of course, another very interesting session. We will be discussing if it's time to increase our members of parliament, and for that we have with us Shri Karti Chidambaram, member of the Lok Sabha for the Congress Party. Shri Karti Chidambaram, I request you, sir, to please join us on stage to take that very pertinent conversation forward. The session will be moderated by Mr. Rishabh Gulati, Editor-in-Chief of NewsX, and myself.
Okay, right as we finish the last session, because the themology of this is going to be similar, our guest here requires no introduction. His father, and of course, has a long lineage in Indian politics. Karti Chidambaram is with us. Mr. Chidambaram, as we were entering, you were saying you disagree with a few of the points made, even the questions that were asked. What is your point of disagreement, sir, please?
Why did you have to ask whether the Hindu population will be worried if the Muslims go up? You should have asked what would have happened to all the people who are fanatics if the atheist population goes up. Why should even religion even matter? We should be worried about economic inequality, lack of opportunities, rather than one's practice of the faith.
So do you think it's a non-issue? It's a total non-issue what happens in religion? Because it becomes a point of conversation.
It's a conversation for perhaps for instigating electoral partisan sloganeering. That's all. It's not for any practical purpose. What's one's faith is a private matter. Whether you believe in God and how you choose to worship, or you don't believe in God, how should it even be relevant to the economic progress or the unity of India?
Okay. But Mr. Chidambaram, would you agree that then, as per you, does caste matter more than religion?
See, I have no problem in taking a caste census. First of all, I don't belong to a caste.
Right.
I negate the idea of caste. I've never identified myself with any caste. In fact, even when I put my daughter in school, even though most application forms have a caste column, I said it's not applicable. That's where my personal position is. But it's a sociological fact of India. My point is there's no harm in doing a census because we are only collecting data. How we choose to act on the data is a completely different debate. Just because we are collecting data, you can't presuppose how the data is going to be used. Suppose we do a survey of how many people are left-handed in India, because most doors are made for right-handers, locks are made for right-handers. The world is unfair to left-handers. Why can't we do a survey and find out how many left-handers are there? That doesn't mean we're going to change all the doors. Doesn't mean we're going to change all the locks. I think in India too, it's a little inconvenient being over 6 feet tall. I don't get enough leg space, even in Parliament. Airline seats are small. So if we do a survey of people over 6 feet tall, doesn't mean we are going to have broader seating in the airlines. So just collecting data is not a bad idea. Let's collect data. Okay. Let's have another debate on how we're going to use the data after we collect the data.
Okay, but on the larger premise, is there a concern that do you have as a representative of the Tamil people that because of
non-Tamils also.
Yes, or people from Tamil Nadu, from your constituency, that because the state of Tamil Nadu has done a good job in population control, it's an economic success story, it's an education success story, that in any delimitation exercise that happens post a caste census, there is a concern that the representation may fall.
No, these are two completely different things. The caste census is not tied to the delimitation. They're not tied to each other at all. First of all, I do not believe that we need more members of parliament. I know the previous panel seemed to suggest they need more members. As it is with 543 people, we don't get a chance to speak. And the larger the house, it will only become a stamping house. It won't be a house for debate. As it is, only Nishikant Dubey gets chance to speak in 0 hour. We all don't get a chance to speak in 0 hour. So if you have more members in parliament, 846 or 888, I know the seats have been designed for 888, but I think the number is going to be 846. It will be less of a debating house. First of all, you won't get space to speak. And it will just be a stamping house where you will follow party whip and raise your hands. In fact, we do not need more parliamentarians for an effective legislative body for India.
Okay, so on the issue of population, when Mohan Bhagwat says that, listen, we should have 3 children, there is an issue about population collapse. How do you respond to that?
I don't really think that's a concern at all, because India, when Subramania Bharati, sang his famous song, Muppadu Kodi Mugamudayal, which was about, in the 1930s, India's population, which included Pakistan, Bangladesh and India, all in the greater, Akhand Bharat, if you want to choose to call it, had only 30 crore people. Now we have grown 5 times that. We don't have opportunities for the 5-time growth. In fact, I would welcome a decreasing population, because with the newer economy and newer technologies, we do not need those so many more people. And if through natural progression our population comes down, I don't think it's a cause of concern. What's the cause of concern today is that we don't have employment opportunities for our educated youth. So we really shouldn't be concerned about a declining population. I have a completely contrarian view to that. I know we'll have an aging population, and whether the young population can support the aging population or not, but people's working lives will get longer, technology will step in, and we would not need so many people at all to keep this going.
But Mr. Chidambaram, if that were true, why are countries like China, Japan, South Korea panicking at this point in time? Because
Japan
they
has
have
reasons to
populations.
panic. I don't think China is panicking. Japan has reason to panic. I think smaller European countries might have reasons to panic because they think that their population is falling at a dramatic level. But I don't think China is panicking. I don't think we should panic as yet at all.
Okay, but there is a disparity because the population in the north is going up faster than the population in the south. Does that concern you?
That concerns me. More than the population, the economic inequality, the social inequality concerns me. The fact that Tamil Nadu has 6% of the population of India, but we have 12% of the doctors. North India does not have enough doctors. Our educational levels are higher. Our per capita contribution is higher. I mean, so in all social parameters, the South is better off than the North. That worries me.
But Mr. Chidambaram, would you not then suggest that you mentioned social parameters, education, healthcare, that the South is better, but Southern MPs also have lower number of constituents? Tamil Nadu, Kerala have lower number of constituents, members of parliament.
You're mistaking the role of an MP. And an MP is not there to look after roads, sewerage, even though that's the common refrain from people, The MP is here to legislate in parliament. You don't need more people to have an effective debating house. You need better, what you need is better local government. Maybe more representative at the local government, not at the parliamentary level. Having more MPs is not going to give you better roads. Having more MPs is not going to make your street lights work. That's not the job. That's where the grouse is. The grouse is at the local government level. An MP's job is not that. Mistakenly, everybody believes that's the MP's job. So having more MPs is not going to improve those amenities. In fact, it will lessen the quality of the debate we have. As it is, we don't get time to speak in parliament. As it is, we are voting according to party lines. We are not convincing anybody else. There is no debate and discussion about issues. So if you want to have an effective debate and discussion, you need to have a smaller chamber and not a larger chamber.
Okay, you just heard your alliance partner of the DMK, Mr. Veeraswamy, say that if you take the southern Indian states, put all the MPs together, because they don't make the difference for some parties sometimes in government formation, therefore in governance also, the center gets distracted. Is that true?
True. If you actually go through your delimitation exercise, our weightage will even get lower. We'll even become more irrelevant. All you need to do is win the bigger northern states, and then you'd be close to forming majority. Yes, we don't get our say. We don't get our weightage. So we need to, maybe have some sort of a super majority things. States have to also accept some sort of legislation, not just mere numbers of how parties vote. Okay. We must have an idea of a supermajority, perhaps.
But sir, won't you say that it's actually more efficient to just have more people? Because we have in the past, as you've mentioned, and we've also said that we've decided to carve out smaller states. We've decided to increase the number of MLAs. We've decided to increase the number of chief ministers. When you just spoke about representation of North versus South, wouldn't it be better for people as a whole to have more members of parliament to put across their points?
I don't think so at all. I think it will just become a stamping house. It will become like the Chinese Politburo, where 1,000 people will come and raise their hands. That's what will happen. You will have no debate in parliament with a larger number. In fact, what you need is more effective local government. That's what you need to deliver services to the people, not a legislative body in Delhi which is bigger and mammoth. Not at all.
Okay, let me bring you back to the census. Now we know the census has been delayed. The government says, look, 2021 was obviously COVID. Now they're planning 2025 start. Results will come out 2026. What are the things from the census that you're going to be watching out for? You already mentioned caste census is important. You don't feel religion really matters. So what will you be watching out for?
I don't know whether caste census is going to be part of that census at all. I mean, I don't know. But if they are going to enumerate that, that's fine. But how we act on it could be a separate debate completely. We can gather the data, but how do we choose to act on it is a completely separate debate. But whether that's going to be part of the census, I don't know. What I really want is women's reservation. That can happen right now. Political parties can do it right now. There's no legal bar to nominate more women as candidates. Only two parties do it. The TMC and the BJD do it effectively. No other party does it, including mine. Do not give enough women opportunities. And I don't think a woman is a lesser candidate than a man in a general election. It's not. A woman is as effective as a candidate as long as she is contesting on a party and alliance ticket. That's what we need right now. We need more women in parliament, not more people. We just need more women in parliament.
But Mr. Chidambaram, what is keeping political parties from giving tickets to female candidates? You've just accepted that Congress is
I'm not the
also...
leader of a political party, so I mean, that's one of the reasons.
Okay, so how do we do 33% reservation? Should it be carved out from the existing seat? Should it be rotational? Yeah. Should it be, in fact, that the number of seats should be increased?
No, increasing the seats is going to make parliament even less effective. As it is, we are not debating enough. As it is, members don't get enough chance to speak in parliament. Having more members is not the answer. Having a much more effective debating house is the answer, and I think this number itself is large, and you should have 33% reservation within this 543.
But I'd also like to understand from you, what if a census or a delimitation exercise makes your constituency reserved for women?
I have no problem. I'm sure the party or my alliance will come up with an effective, educated woman to represent the constituency. I have absolutely no problem with that.
Okay, so let me take a question forward. Is this going to organically create a lot more women politicians in this country? Because we've had at the senior most level, we've had women presidents, women prime ministers. At the Panchayati Raj level, we have women in order to find 150, 170 MPs from the current 30, 40, 50, 70, which is what the total right now is, do you see this giving a lot more women opportunities? Yes. Or does it happen, as we've also seen, that the wives and the daughters then get put forward?
See, in local bodies in Tamil Nadu, you have 50% reservation.
Yes.
So the first round, it will be wives, sisters, daughters kind of thing, first instance. But then they'll come on their own. Then it will also start throwing up political leaders on their own right. But you need to fast track it. If you do not have this compulsory reservation, parties will not come forward to nominate, which is the case now. Except for two parties, no other party nominates enough number of people to be candidates for parliament.
Okay, Karti Chidambaram, I have to ask you this before I let you go, sir. Because we are in the middle or really starting a big debate on the constitution in parliament. Why does the parliament need to debate the constitution?
It's 75 years. It's a nice way to spend 2 days.
Do you think that there's something substantive being achieved here, or is it just about making an ode to the parliament or to the constitution?
I really think we're not going to. I mean, it will bring out different perspectives from various parts of the country and from various political leaders. It will bring up perspectives. We're not moving any amendments to the constitution. We're not going to do it, but it will just bring it to the fore that we have had a document, living document, which has been the framework of keeping this union together and keeping this union united. And then it will bring out different perspectives for 2 days, if people care to watch it.
When all of you were swearing in this time around, you had a copy of the Constitution in your hands. Was that symbolic of something?
No, it's also making a point that the Constitution is eternal. It's a superb document. And it took about 2 years and 11 months for very wise people to draft it. And we are respecting it. And it should be preserved.
Okay, Priyanka Gandhi might just make her first speech in Parliament. Become an MP for the first time. Are you happy that she's in Parliament with you?
Yes, I am very happy she's there. She's a natural leader. I mean, whether you like it or not. And the party cadre, right from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, have a bond with her. And I think she's going to have a long innings in Parliament, and I'm looking forward to her first speech.
For those people who say it was the Congress who put emergency, did this, did that, and now the Congress says...
we apologize for it.
And now the Congress says the Constitution is under threat.
Listen to me. We've made mistakes. We are open to accepting the fact that we've made mistakes. Mrs. Indira Gandhi expressed regret for the emergency. She lost elections in 77. She won in 80. Tell me one instance where the BJP has expressed regret for anything. Anything at all. Including the traffic jam or the pollution or anything. Just tell me one instance where the BJP has expressed regret. We are expressing regret. I express regret for the emergency. I express regret for 1994. Delhi, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh has expressed regret. Tell me one instance where the BJP has expressed regret for anything at all. Have they made no mistakes? Intentionally, unintentionally? They have nothing to look back and express regret about? We express regret for the emergency. No problem at all in accepting that.
What do you make of all the election results that have come our way after the Lok Sabha? You almost made it to 100 seats, which was
it's a setback for us. It's a setback for us. We need to really look at it hard and see why those happen. But state elections, as I've always said, are like a tennis match. One set is completely independent of another set. It doesn't influence one state election, doesn't influence another state election, but we have to look at the factors why we went wrong in those.
Do you think the 2029 election is going to be fundamentally different from the one that has just concluded?
I don't know. 4.5 years, I can't predict. I mean, I really can't predict.
Okay, fair enough. It was a pleasure, sir, to have this conversation. And I know a heated conversation are going to happen in Parliament. And a lot of the issues that will come out of delimitation. But Karti Chidambaram has said he wants old-fashioned debates and conversations in Parliament that are meaningful, not just more people talking for shorter. Thank you very much, Mrs. Chidambaram, as always, for this interaction.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chidambaram, for taking out your time. We, of course, present you a small token of our appreciation, a copy of the Indian Constitution, along with a very special photograph of the first Constituent Assembly. Thank you so much. Let's have a huge round of applause for Mr. Karti Chidambaram. I take this moment now to welcome on stage with us Justice Rajesh Tandon, former judge of the Uttarakhand High Court.